Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Purceller. I'm the Sustainability Manager here at Moraine Valley Community College, and it is my pleasure to introduce this workshop today as part of our Earth Month festivities. Every year we celebrate Earth Day, April 22nd. Sometimes we do it as a week, sometimes we do it as a day, sometimes we do it as a month, and this year we've chosen to do it as a month again. Today we've got a couple of different things going on, but like Earth Salutations Yoga happening outside in the quad. But also today we have with us our very own Don Wrobel and Tommy Hensel, who will be talking to us about green body and green home, how you can stay safe, stay healthy, and be kind to the planet at the same time. So I'm going to turn it over to the two of them, and thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, Stephanie. So I'm going to start today. My name is Tommy Hensel. My job at Moraine Valley, I'm the director of the Fine and Performing Arts Center. So I have a cool job there. But back in the day, I've done many different things in my life. And for a while in the 90s, I worked in an herbal apothecary with a friend of mine who was a master herbalist. And she formulated all of her own beauty products and self-care products. But she also, towards the last couple of years that I worked for her, started to branch into home cleaning products. And so I worked with her recipes, and then I experimented over the years with other people's recipes and kind of put my own together. And honestly, there were two reasons. One was cost. Ultimately, when you first buy all the ingredients, if you don't already have them, you might spend a little extra money the first time. But something like this giant thing of baking soda or this of Dr. Bronner's, which I'll talk about in a minute, is expensive to buy, but it lasts for a very long time. And you can make a tremendous lot of cleaning products with it. So over time, you save a lot of money. Of course, the other thing was getting rid of all those chemicals that you inhale whenever you clean anything in your house with those cleaning products that you buy off the shelf. And a lot of times you have no idea what it is that you're breathing in. At least with this, almost everything is completely natural, and there's really only one product that's even slightly toxic, and it's not even all that toxic. So for the most part, it's very safe cleaning. You know exactly what's going into your cleaning products. So I'm going to be demoing a couple of different things today, but the first two that I want to start before I throw it over to Dawn involve cleaning metal, and both of them are things that take a little bit of time, so I'm going to prep them at the beginning of the workshop today, and then we'll see the results at the end. And when I come back after Dawn's first demo, I'll give you kind of a heads up on some of the basic supplies that you would need to start your own home cleaning. But first, we're going to start with the easiest one. Brass and copper tarnish frequently. And so this is a pretty tarnished piece of copper that I have at home. One of the easiest ways to clean that is kind of the most fun. And I have my friends who have kids love it because it's really gloppy and messy, and if you've got little kids that like to get messy and get their hands in things, they love this. I'm using a glove only because I don't want to get all messy at the beginning of the workshop today. But what we have here is just a solution made of baking soda, flour, and salt. Oh, sorry, not baking soda. Vinegar, flour, and salt. So it's just 3 ingredients. It's really kind of messy and gloppy, as you can see. So kids love to play with it, but I love to play with it too. So what you do if you want to clean brass or copper is you just sort of glop it on to whatever it is that's tarnished. I'm going to do half of this dish today so you can see the difference. It'll start cleaning immediately, but it's better to leave it on for a while, and especially if something is super tarnished, it takes just a while to get that tarnish done. And what you'll notice, particularly with brass, I'm not sure if you're going to see it as much with the copper today, is that as the tarnish is being removed underneath the glop, you'll notice that it starts to turn green. So it does get just a little bit toxic at that point, so don't let the kids eat it then. But before you put it on anything, it's basically just stuff that you have in your pantry. So I'm going to leave that on for the time that we're here today. The second one is cleaning silver. Silver is an interesting thing because when you use traditional silver polish on any kind of silver, what you're actually doing is, when you remove the tarnish, is that you're removing a little bit of the silver with the tarnish, which is why if you see really old heirloom silver, ultimately you'll start to see it wear away and you'll see what was underneath the silver because it's been cleaned so many times. Natural cleaning for silver is really cool because it's not that kind of process. It's an electrochemical process. So what happens is that because the silver is metal and the aluminum foil is metal, when I put it into a non-reactive dish, which would be something glass, this is a Pyrex dish, or plastic, as long as the tarnished piece of silver is in contact with the aluminum foil in the solution, it's actually an electrochemical process that removes the tarnish without removing any of the silver at the same time. So what we have here is just equal parts. I used 1 tablespoon each of baking soda and sea salt, very similar to the salt that Dawn's going to talk about. And then I just boiled this water. It's super hot water that you pour, and it'll dissolve pretty quickly. And this is a tarnished piece of silver that I haven't cleaned in a really, really long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it in and let it sit kind of halfway in and let it sit for a while. And then you'll get to see the difference between the silver that was immersed in the water solution and the silver that was still tarnished in the air. So we're going to let those sit for a while, and then I'm going to throw it over to Dawn for her first piece.
There you go. Okay, so I want to talk about some of the ingredients today because with the exception of the essential oils and maybe aloe vera gel or lanolin, everything up here is probably in your kitchen or bathroom already, or something very similar to it is in your kitchen or bathroom. So I used relatively few ingredients, and like Tommy, I came through this process gradually. I began to work on a degree in holistic health in order to do more holistic things with animals, and that pulled me into it. And so I started with the recipes I learned in my classes, and I just kept experimenting and trying other things and seeing what worked best for me. And so I'm going to start also with cleaning. And if you're looking to do some really holistic skincare, one of the simplest things to cleanse with is coconut oil. You can just leave a little spoon, or like a tongue depressor works great for scooping a little out. And this liquefies when it hits your skin. And it's very safe, it's moisturizing, but it will take off just about any makeup, including most waterproof mascaras. And so it's a very safe thing to use on your skin. And if you're worried about any excess oil being left, you can then use a toner on that. And the easiest toner, well, there are 2 really easy toners. Okay. So the easiest toner is apple cider vinegar and water. And this does just as good a job as the organic toner I used to buy. A bottle this size would run, the company that I bought my organic toner from, this was $57 for this size. It costs you a few cents to do it with apple cider vinegar and water. And the recipe is 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar. And when I'm doing it on my face, I use a good organic apple cider vinegar. When I'm doing something like using it in the tub, which I'll talk about later, then I just use whatever apple cider vinegar I get. I'm not as picky, but I do use organic on my face. And I just eyeball about 1/3 of this container apple cider vinegar, fill the rest up with water, and you're good to go. You can use a cotton ball and use that to take off any excess oil on your face. And you'll smell like a salad for all of about 3 minutes, and it goes away. It dissipates really fast, but it's just as effective as the expensive organic toners and a lot less money. Few pennies compared to $50, $60. So that's a huge savings. And even if you buy the organic, this bottle was probably $3, $4 for the organic. This makes a lot of toner. And it doesn't need to be refrigerated, it doesn't spoil, so it works really well. If you don't have that and you have milk in your house, you can apply milk with a cotton ball, leave it on your skin for a few minutes till it feels tight, rinse it off with warm water, and that will also take off any excess oil, any oil that's left from cleansing your face. So a couple of really simple things.
Oh, cool. See, and like these recipes, most of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today, some of them are a little pricey when you first buy them, but they last for a really long time. So the first thing, before I start mixing up my first solution for you, is just to give you kind of the basics of some of the things you will need to make your own home cleaning products. And the most important is baking soda. I buy the big giant economy size, as you can see, because I go through quite a lot of it because I make all my own stuff at home. And I use it for basically every kind of cleaning application. But sort of the basics of cleaning is really a combination of something alkaline and something acid reacting with each other. So a lot of times what you'll see is this is tremendously alkaline, as is the soap, and then the distilled white vinegar is your acid. So the two most important things that you will need are your baking soda and your distilled white vinegar. They form the basis of almost everything that you will make to clean with. Other things that you really need are a good liquid Castile soap. And my favorite is Dr. Bronner's soap. There are others on the market, but Dr. Bronner's is now more available than it ever used to be. It used to be you could only buy it at a holistic health store. I've seen it now at Target. I've seen it at other places like that. I bought this at Whole Foods, so it was probably a slightly more expensive. But this amount of liquid Castile soap will last for a really long time. And what liquid Castile soap is this particular brand is a combination of organic coconut oil, hemp oil, jojoba oil, and olive oil, saponified with potassium hydroxide, which is what you use to make soap. And then that dissipates, and the preservative in it is tocopherol, which is vitamin E. So all it is plant-based oils, fats, that have reacted with an alkaline to create soap, and it's soft soap. So you'll need some kind of liquid soap, these two things. The other thing that you will need every once in a while is borax. The reason borax is a really cool product is that it's slightly toxic because it is a cleaner, but it's a naturally mined mineral, so it's not something created in a lab. People actually mine it. So the 20 Mule Team borax is the most famous. I've had this container of borax for 3 years now, I think, because there's so much of it, and I use a teaspoon at a time. You will, for certain other applications, need light olive oil, club soda, and then common household things like salt and flour. So the first thing that I'm going to make today is what I call my basic strong cleaner. This is the stuff that I use to do most of the cleaning in my kitchen and my bathroom, anything that you need a relatively strong cleaning solution for. And after you use this, I very often will go back and just spritz some water wherever it was and just wipe any potential soap residue away. But it's a really pretty simple recipe. I'm going to flip this over just so that I make sure that I've got it. And I'm going to make a bottle today, and we'll figure out a way, Stephanie, for me to randomize so that somebody can take it home with them. It's important when you're creating this particular cleaner that you put things together into the bottle in the order that we talk about, because if you add the baking soda first and then you put the vinegar in, it will spritz up, but not the other way around. So the very first thing that you need is 2 tablespoons of distilled white vinegar. Not a lot for 16 ounces of mixture. So just 2 tablespoons of this. All right. I'll move that out of the way. You need 1 teaspoon of borax. I already pre-poured that. It will stick a little bit in there, but that's okay. We're getting ready to put more liquid in. Then you need some water just to start the borax dissolving. And I am going to take this down to about a half a cup. I find it easier when I add the liquid soap to add it, since you need a 1/4 cup of it, to leave a little bit of the water in. Is that right? Quarter cup. There we go. Hey, just about right. Cool. Then I used the Dr. Bronner's that has no aroma. Dr. Bronner's comes now, so if you don't want to use essential oils, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, if they're too expensive or you can't find them, Dr. Bronner's comes in a bunch of different kind of flavors. There's eucalyptus, there's tea tree, there's peppermint, there's orange, there's rose, there's a citrus one. So you can get those, and you already then have that essential oil in there. But I really like to use essential oils, natural essential oils, because not only do they provide some nice aroma to the solution, because a lot of us get kind of used to smelling that citrus smell or smelling something when we're cleaning, so it's kind of nice to have that. But they also themselves have disinfectant qualities and antifungal and antibacterial qualities. So a lot of times for the cleaning product, I will use tea tree oil, which is my favorite. And for a 16 ounces, maybe, I don't know, 10 to 15 drops. You can do more. You can experiment with it. And that was more like 20, but that's okay. So there, we're done at this point. So just a few ingredients. And now this is a basic cleaner that you can use for any of your basic cleaning applications, like you would use if you bought something like, let's say, Windex, or one of those things that you use, just general sprays for the counter in the kitchen or something like that. This will now take the place. And if you add up what it costs to do this, this was pennies compared to $4 or $3 or whatever you're paying for that. Over time, spending 25 cents for this as opposed to $4 for that starts to add up. So even though the materials might cost a little bit up front, the actual cleaning product itself is really inexpensive. Right? So we'll give this away at the end, and I'm going to throw it back to Dawn.
Okay, scrubs. So if you want to get a little bit more aggressive, if you need to get that dry skin off and you want to work on that, you can make your own scrubs. And for this, lots of things in your kitchen work. So lots of food items work well. Sugar and oil, cornmeal and sea salt and oil, tomato and yogurt. So in the summer when you have really nice ripe tomatoes in your garden, you can chop up a tomato, mix it with a tablespoon or two of yogurt, and use that on your face. Peaches and brown sugar are one of my favorite. I have peach trees, and I absolutely love it. So in the summer, I'll do a peach and brown sugar. Because the peaches will spoil, that one goes in the refrigerator in between using it. Most of these do not have to. That one does. If you have an overripe banana, you can take it and mix it with a little bit of sugar or baking soda, make a great scrub. You can use banana and a little bit of baking soda or sugar as a mask on your face as well. The one I'm going to do today is coffee and almond oil, and I'm also going to send around one that is brown sugar and cardamom and cinnamon, and is just one of my favorites in terms of fragrance. And this one probably at this point needs just a little more oil in it, but I'm going to send that one around as well so that you can just smell it. But a great use of your leftover coffee grounds, scrub. So you take about a cup of leftover coffee grounds. And this is another great way to recycle. And you mix in, for a cup, about a quarter cup of oatmeal. And a lot of you have probably heard or seen in the store oatmeal lotions and oatmeal scrubs and other things. And I used to measure. Now I just use a little bit of oil to start, and I'm using almond oil here. You can use olive oil if you have that. You can use sunflower oil. I usually have almond oil because I also use it to cut the essential oils. I'm also someone who uses a lot of essential oils. And the oil helps bind this and hold it together. And then if you love the smell of coffee, you can also use it on your skin. You know, if you're just trying to do some gentle exfoliation on your face, my favorite is a grape. You cut a grape in half, you rub it on your face, on your clean face, let it sit for 10 minutes, rinse it off, and it really does a nice job on your skin, because the same thing that make that grape ripen help exfoliate your skin. And if you don't believe me, try it on your hand first. Try it just on one hand. The next time you have grapes, cut one in half, Rub the juice on the back of one hand, let it wait 10 minutes, rinse it off, and see how much softer and nicer the skin is on that hand. And I'm going to send these around just so you can get the chance to kind of check the fragrance of a couple things you can make for pennies in your kitchen. I don't even know what that would cost because it's leftover coffee. It'd probably be the cost of a tablespoon or two of the almond oil, and you've got several days worth of scrub. The other scrub is brown sugar, cinnamon, and cardamom. And so the cardamom is the most expensive ingredient in that because cardamom is a relatively expensive spice, but it's not something you have to use if you like cinnamon, other things. And that one is my husband's favorite because it smells like cookies to him. So he gets rough hands from the kind of work he does, and he'll actually use that with a little more oil in it. He'll use a little oilier version, and he likes it on his hands because they smell like cookies. So that's some quick things you can do with scrubs. And if you're using salt, generally I use sea salt for the scrub, not table salt. You can use table salt. And I will either use the fine sea salt for the face. If I'm doing feet or hands, generally I will use a coarse sea salt. And I hate to be a commercial, but having shopped in the area, my best source locally for coarse sea salt is Michael's Crafts. And if you sign up, you get a 40% off coupon almost every week. A 7-pound container of salt, which is enough for probably 30 or 40 baths, is going to cost $10 with the coupon $6 in tax. And you can make a lot of bath salt with that. So I'll make a bath. Do you have another demo?
I don't have another demo, no.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and I'm going to do the demo. So the quickest for the, forgot to talk about masks. Okay, grape cut in half, honey, a mashed overripe banana, plain yogurt with a little baking soda for grit, either a beaten egg yolk or a beaten egg white, or mashed avocado make great skincare masks, very safe, things that you have in your kitchen. And the one, my favorite, is that first one up there, the grape. Because how easy is it to just slice a grape or two, put the juice on your skin, let it sit 10 minutes, and rinse it off. Does a great job.
And that's a great way to use an overripe avocado that you can't use.
Or overripe banana, same thing.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing. And bath salts, this is where I use some more expensive ingredients because I add oil. But I have a basic bath salt recipe, and it is kind of the same ingredients you've been seeing. So the first thing, 3 parts of sea salt, 2 parts of Epsom salts, which are what you typically find in your bathroom. You're going to soak your feet in or use in a bath if you're achy. And 1 part baking soda, and I also buy it in sort of the industrial size. And if you use a ½ cup as your measure when you're doing all those parts, this will make enough for 6 to 12 baths, depending on how much you use in a bath at a time. And you just shake it up really good. And that becomes your bath salt mix. A container about this size of bath salts is typically, for something that's a lavender or something else, you're going to look at $5 to $7. And it's a fraction of that cost to do it yourself. You can get the, over-tighten my lavender, so it's a little messy, but you can get lavender oils at health food stores, and I don't know if Whole Foods has oils or not.
The one where I shop in the city, it does. The one in Lincoln Park has it. I'm not sure about the rest of them.
But I use a lot of lavender. So in terms of some things that you can add, if you're doing a hand or foot bath, you add 4 drops of essential oil to 1/4 to 1/2 cup of this mix. If you're doing a whole body, you can go up to 10 drops. And so some things that you might use, you could use 5 to 10 drops of lavender to soothe your skin or be relaxing. If you have achy muscles, and you do not have epilepsy, that's kind of the one kicker I'll put there, wintergreen. Wintergreen is a really inexpensive oil to get, like lavender, pretty commonly available. It's really good for muscle aches, or you can use 5 drops of wintergreen, 3 of lavender. I use tea tree for, actually, my dog got fungal infection on her feet, so I was using tea tree with the bath salts because she had to have a daily foot soak for a while to clear that up. And so you can use tea tree as an antifungal. and it works really well. So if you make up the basic mix, then what you do is you just take whatever scoop you're going to use to scoop it out, add whatever kind of oil you need for that bath, and put it in. Citrus is really good for perking you up. The two oils, or three oils I would not be without: lavender, peppermint, and tea tree. Peppermint, which my students that are in here probably know, I talked to them about peppermint helping your memory. It also helps wake you up. So if you're doing a bath and you need to wake up, peppermint or some of the citruses are really good for that. So you can vary the oil that you use in the bath. Very inexpensive. I think I figured the last time that bath is maybe 50 cents depending on what kind of oil I use in it. And this would be 1 or 2 baths. And the lavender sea salts that I found at Walmart, where they're not that expensive and they weren't organic, it was $5.95 or something like that for a container this size, and which is 1 or 2 baths. You can do that yourself for about 50, 60 cents.
Great. And just going back to essential oils, the two that I would never be without for cleaning purposes are tea tree and eucalyptus. But I also use sometimes, you know how people get into that sort of childhood memory of something like pine sol, so we remember that pine scent, or like lemon pledge whenever you're dusting, that lemon smell. So you can get those essential oils and add them to your cleaning products, and you duplicate that sort of memory. Just a couple of things, some basic tips before I take it back to Dawn one more time and then come back and show you the results of our little experiment here. Air quality in your house. One of the greatest ways just to improve the quality of the air in your house is through houseplants. Houseplants will actually suck toxins out of the air. And surprisingly, one of the best is ivy. English ivy, because English ivy will actually suck out in your kitchen, particularly some of the toxins that are left over if you cook with gas. That's a really good one. But there's so many wonderful houseplants that just improve the quality of the air in your house. So I always tell people, you know, you want several houseplants, as many as possible. For per 100 square feet, a couple of houseplants per every 100 square feet is probably a good formula. Odor absorption, probably the simplest and really one of the best ways to get rid of pervasive odors is with something absolutely simple. You buy pure vanilla extract, not the stuff that's cheap at, you know, in the grocery store, but
Pure vanilla.
but the pure stuff. Pure vanilla extract. You sprinkle it on a cotton ball and put it in a little bowl or on a plate and put it in whatever place is smelling bad, whether it's a pantry or underneath the sink or whatever. And you will notice within a couple of hours, you'll notice a difference. And then in a day, the odor will probably be gone. It's amazing how something so simple will absorb so much odor, but it's really tremendous. The other thing for odors that I use is a very simple solution of just about, I use a little spritz bottle, but with the basic white distilled vinegar, a little bit of baking soda dissolved in that, and some essential oils. And that's all you need, because that actually, most odor absorbing stuff that you spray doesn't absorb the odors, it covers them up. So it's chemicals that just basically make you smell that instead of smelling whatever it was that was stinking. The vinegar will actually absorb the odors, so it actually removes the odors from the air, and the essential oils just help you have a nice little smell that goes with it. I keep a bottle on my desk in my office. I have one in the bathroom, one in the kitchen, and I gave one to the girls who work in our box office, because every once in a while they want to spritz. And I gave them one that had nothing, I forget what I gave them. I think it was peppermint, something to perk them up, because I didn't want them to fall asleep while they were working. But that's a very simple one. Also, for glass cleaning, really what's really fascinating is probably the best way to clean glass is with club soda. That's all it is. I put club soda in a little spritzy bottle. Unfortunately, I didn't bring any dirty glass with me, and they've cleaned the board, so that I can't demonstrate it for you. But the principle is really simple. There's citric acid in here. That's what gives the club soda its little zing, and that's what cleans. So it's water with citric acid, and you spray it on, and you wipe it off with a lint-free cloth of some kind, and then you probably have to go back over it one more time with another drier cloth just to get a little bit of the water off. But it cleans just as well as something like Windex that is very expensive. Yes?
Now, what about the sugar in the club soda?
it doesn't really seem to make a difference because you're wiping it off really fast. And there's really not that much sugar in club soda. If you buy good club soda, it's just water with the citric acid. You don't want to use anything like, I don't know, ginger ale. That would be a bad idea because you'll get all something goopy on there. So I know you have another demo, right? Or okay, cool. So I'm going to do one quick demo and then go back to yours, and then I'll show this at the end.
And if I could just add about the cleaning, because he was talking about glass, the other thing that you can use is about 1/10 vinegar to 1 part vinegar, 9 parts water. And if you need just a little bit more, a drop of Bronner's, or if you don't have that, if you're a traditional, a drop of Dawn dish detergent. When I was a student, I was working in Great Frame Up, and that's how we cleaned all the glass on all the pictures, was vinegar, water, a tiny bit, like a drop to a 16-ounce bottle of Dawn, and newsprint. Does a great job.
Newsprint is great. That's a great way to use up old newspapers too, because for whatever reason, the quality of that paper tends to really do something good with taking off the
lint-free.
It's lint-free. In my kitchen, one of the things that you always are constantly having to clean is the sink, because it just seems like no matter how much you try to clean it, it always gets a little, whether it's a stainless steel sink that just gets sort of goopy, or a white ceramic sink that just gets those scuff marks in it from pans and pots and pans. So what I normally do is every few days I will just take something that you can buy at a kitchen supply store, put baking soda in it, and let's say this is my sink. I'll make sure the sink is wet, and I'll just cover it with the baking soda, and then I'll take white distilled vinegar and spray it, and you can see that it's fizzing up. So the combination of the acid and the alkaline is now fizzing. And I just pour that into my sink and let it sit for an hour, let it sit for a half hour, however long. Sometimes I'll let it do it in the morning and come back at night and get it all damp again and scrub it out. And it's an amazing, quick and easy way to clean something that's not super, super, super deeply stained. This is also the exact same recipe that I use to clean the toilet. Before you go to bed at night, if you sprinkle maybe a cup of baking soda into the water and then pour a half a cup or a cup of distilled white vinegar in there, it'll fizz all up, close the lid, go to bed, wake up in the morning, scrub it and flush, and you have cleaned your toilet. And it works really, really well, and it's so much less expensive than expensive toilet cleaners, and it's just vinegar and baking soda, so it's completely non-toxic. And it's an amazingly strong cleaner, especially if you leave it overnight and let it just sort of work its magic. So those are my last two before we do this at the end. So I'm going to throw it back to you for one more demo, and then we'll see what happened with our metal, see if I know what I'm talking about.
So the weather's warmed up, you're starting to be outside more, you're starting to do things after our very long winter this year. If you need some muscle relief, if you've overdone it, you need some muscle relief, you can take that basic bath salt mix that I talked about, you can add some wintergreen to it, some lavender, soak in the tub, that'll help. But an even easier one is 1 quart of apple cider vinegar in a warm bath and soak for at least 20 minutes, and that soak also helps reduce bruising, and a vinegar soak will also help sunburn. So very good for lots of things, but especially if you've got sore muscles and if you've got any bruises, it helps pull everything out. Very, very, very good soak. Insects. The thing I like least about warm weather, first tick showed up yesterday. I live in the country, so I always have to check the dog, and we had the first tick yesterday. One of my friends, who is not holistic in the least, and so it really surprised me, taught me a recipe that works really good on me for gnats and kind of the no-see-ums and the little flies, those type of things. On him and my husband, who are not mosquito magnets like I am, it works on mosquitoes and flies, and to a lesser extent on ticks for about 4 hours. And 4 hours isn't bad if you're not going to be out all day, if you're just going out for a while to do something. So it's very simple. It is 1 cup of either rubbing alcohol, which a lot of you have at home, or witch hazel, which you might not. I prefer the witch hazel. And 1 tablespoon of pure vanilla extract. And here is where you really do need that pure extract. Artificial vanilla extract is usually made from wood chips, not the vanilla orchid. And it is not the same, and it will not do the same. And it's simply a tablespoon stirred into 1 cup of witch hazel or rubbing alcohol, and the witch hazel, rubbing alcohol, those evaporate fairly quickly. And you put it in a little mister bottle, and you have a quick and easy and very safe insect repellent. If I were going back to Africa, or when I go to Brazil, I would not trust this enough in really bad conditions. But around here, for picnics, to keep away. Oh, this also works on the sweat bees that seem to accumulate around sugary things at picnics. So this is good for flies, little no-see-ums, on some people for mosquitoes, very non-toxic. And if you just want to spray that, I'll send that around as well, because it's basically the vanilla. Yep.
Now, did you hear about the whole, if you have a dryer sheet in your pocket, partially sticking out?
Yep.
That you can't use as a repellent?
Doesn't work for me. I'm a mosquito magnet, so if I'm in a crowd of 6 people and one person gets bit, it is me. So the other thing that I do for mosquitoes, you can do really specific recipes. There's another basic repellent that the one that I actually use most of the time for me, it's 6 drops of peppermint, 6 drops of tea tree, 9 drops of eucalyptus radiata, and about 80 drops of this almond oil. And I'll mix that up, so if I want something really good for me, and especially now because the ticks are out, that's what I'll use. It's a little stronger. You can also mix specific repellents for specific kinds of insects. So if you sign up for our recipe sheets, if you're interested in the recipes we use, we're going to email those out. I have a whole list of different recipes, like what to do for ticks or horse flies or other, mosquitoes, what kind of works best, or some of the things that work best. This is my favorite for basic repellent for myself. I like the scent of the vanilla one. Doesn't work long enough on me. It works, but not long enough, and so that's kind of the issue for me. On my husband, easily will last 4 hours even if he's sweating, and so that's a lot. The other thing is you can ingest things like flower essences. Flower essences are made from the flowers of plants, and they're really safe to use. And there's one that I started using with my dog, and it did such a good job that I tried it. And so the last 2 summers, I've had much less problems with mosquito bites. The traditional thing that I did with my horses was to feed them apple cider vinegar in their water. I didn't like to drink it. You can drink it yourself. It's supposed to change the pH balance of your body so that the mosquitoes don't like it, which is why you would do it. Don't like that, but I found I could do that with Flea Free, and it is. It's made from flowers. It's some little drops, and you put 3 or 4 in your water 3 to 4 times a day. And whatever it does, it seems to help, because in the last 2 years, and last year was a bad insect year because we had a mild winter, I did much better. I had almost no mosquito bites last summer. I started this about midsummer the year before. It worked so well, I did it all summer last year, and really got through the summer with very few insect bites. And so, a bottle like this, $9, probably lasts me 3 to 4 weeks. Is it worth it not to get the bites? Yes. So that's a little more expensive, but it is another alternative if you want to be safe. The other thing about oils is they're really good for bites. So if you get a mosquito bite, you put a drop of peppermint oil. Neat means that you put it on full strength. That takes away the sting. And I always have peppermint oil in my purse, because it's also what I use to stay awake and for other things. So I almost always have that with me. A drop of peppermint oil on mosquito bite takes away that itch. If it's too strong, you can combine it 50-50 with olive oil, sunflower oil, the almond oil, again, whatever you want to use. Ticks, a drop of oil will help loosen the tick. My husband uses a lot of oregano oil, so we tend to have that around. If we do find a tick on the dog, usually put a drop of oregano oil on it, will loosen it. Afterward, I'll use a blend called Purification that detoxes the wound. It's antimicrobial, antibiotic sort of properties on it. And then the peppermint to reduce the itch, the pain, and whatever infections on there. So that's getting a little bit more into aromatherapy and the use of oils. But peppermint, I always have peppermint. So that's my go-to for bites and stings in the summer. And the last thing, and then we'll see how the metal cleaner worked, sunburn. So at a picnic, best thing, watermelon, cucumber. There's a reason you see those pictures of women relaxing with cucumber on their eyes, because cucumber, even if it is room temperature, feels cool to your skin and pulls out some of that burning sensation. So if there's a mixed salad there, it's got cucumber in it, There you go, especially for eyelids. Cucumbers are really good because there's, to put on there. Watermelon, you often have watermelon on a picnic, very good. If not that, a cold leaf of lettuce or cabbage helps cool the burn, especially on your face. So some very immediate first aid if you fall asleep in the sun, burn your face. Wet tea bags also work well for sunburned eyelids. And some of the other quick and easy things, 3 lemons and 2 cups of water if you want to cool and disinfect a burn. Again, our favorite, apple cider vinegar and baking soda. You have white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, baking soda. You can do a ton of things in your home just with those 3 things. You can add those to the bath to cool your skin, to cool the burn. And the other things that require some purchasing, aloe vera gel, and I only use certified organic because what you find at most of the drugstores has color and they're chemically processed, and you may, if you have sensitive skin, react to either the dye in it or some of the other processing materials. And although you might not like the scent, lanolin, which comes from sheep, is the closest thing to our own skin oils that you can get. So if you need something for soothing, and I have kind of the remnants of a burn. I grabbed a handle on a cast iron frying pan that I did not know had been heated. I thought it had just been cleaned but not heated, and got a pretty nasty burn, and I just grabbed the aloe vera, put a couple drops of lavender in it, and I got a little bit of blistering, but not bad considering how badly I burned. So it really, I always have this in the kitchen. And lavender has been used for over 200 years for treating 1st and 2nd degree burns. So if you're going to buy even like just one oil, if you get lavender, lavender is really soothing to the skin. It's relaxing. In the past, it was associated with old ladies and their lavender scent. But lavender, historically, people would dry their laundry on lavender bushes because it gave them a nice fragrance. And it's something that is just very safe and very good for skin. And like I said, burns, 1st and 2nd degree burns, 200 years of using lavender oil to treat burns. So we have a lot of history. It's not something, new age and new. It's something very old that's very good. So
Yep.
see how the metal does.
And I've actually used lavender oil. I'm from the deep south, and we have an issue with fire ants in the south. And when last time I was bitten by a fire ant, I used lavender oil, and it took away the pain instantly and the inflammation. So it was the first thing that had ever worked for our fire ant bites. If you ever unfortunately get one of those, some lavender oil is a good thing. Really quickly before we look at this, someone asked me about the light olive oil. This is something that I use in wood preparations. There's 2 different ways of dealing with wood. One I call dusting and the other is polishing. General dusting of wood, you create a combination, and it'll be in my recipe sheets when you get them in your email, of just a little bit of the light olive oil with vinegar and water and either fresh lemon juice that's been strained, that gives you that lemon pledge smell, or lemon essential oil. If you use the lemon juice, obviously you have to refrigerate whatever's left afterwards, and it doesn't last as long, but it's actually really great. The essential oil, though, works great. For actual polishing of furniture, it's kind of an opposite thing. You use 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar, with then adding the essential oils in. So does anybody know what else is 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar? Salad dressing. It's the only thing that I make as a cleaning product that's actually edible. So if you can actually clean your furniture and put it on your salad at the same time, and voila, because it's 3 parts oil, 1 part vinegar, and either fresh lemon juice or pure lemon essential oil, so you can actually ingest that, and it tastes good on your salad. Okay, so we're going to look at 2 of the applications. We're going to start with the silver. Okay, so all we did on this was aluminum foil, salt, sea salt, and baking powder, or baking soda, not baking powder, baking soda in hot water. And as long as the silver is in contact with the aluminum foil, you're good to go. If you were up here, you would smell a little bit of sulfur because part of the tarnish is it's silver sulfate. So as the tarnish goes away, the sulfur evaporates, and you get that sort of a rotten egg smell just a little bit. But what you also notice is that you're not going to see it so much, but the tarnish has transferred to the aluminum foil. If you look really closely, you're going to see just a little bit of the tarnish on the aluminum foil. Great, easy way to clean silver. As far as the copper is concerned, or the brass, this is it works equally well on both copper and brass. Since I don't have any just plain water, we're going to use this water. So remember, this was just vinegar and flour and salt. And it just sat there for a while. And voila. So we'll see. It really works amazingly well. It's just stuff you have in your house. I mean, who doesn't have vinegar and flour and salt in their kitchen? So if you've got brass, especially like brass candlesticks, because sometimes those are hard to clean because they have all the scroll work and stuff on them. This stuff is really gloppy, so you can get it into the corners and all that stuff, and it works really, really well. So those are two. If you've got any silver or any brass or copper that needs to be cleaning. Just really quickly, the other thing that will clean copper is, I like limes better than lemons, but if you just cut a lime in half and sprinkle a little bit of sea salt on the copper and then squeeze just a little bit of the juice out and then use the lime itself to rub it in gently, that will instantly remove the stains from copper. So don't use that on brass, but you can use a lemon or a lime with salt on copper. Great. So I am done, so we can open it up for questions.
Any questions?
What's the difference between the vanilla extract, like you said, artificial and pure?
The pure is
Hang
made.
on, Don, sorry. Can we have you repeat it so we can?
Oh yeah. What's the difference? Oh, okay. What's the difference between the vanilla extract, the pure, and the artificial?
Pure vanilla extract is made from pods that come from vanilla orchids, and vanilla extract is usually made from wood pulp or wood chips, and so the scent is the same, but the composition is completely different. And also, most vanilla is made by the pure vanilla extract by a different process. The wood is chemically processed to create the vanilla extract in most cases.
And the stuff that's not pure very often has alcohol in it as kind of to sort of stretch it out. So it's got a little bit of alcohol in it as well, or something similar to that. So it's a little astringent. It's just not nearly as good as the pure stuff.
Does it say on there?
Oh yes, so what you want are the ones that say pure vanilla extract. And if you shop at one of the warehouse stores like Costco or Sam's, you can get because I use a lot of it, I get the big bottles, and it's not that expensive to get the pure. In the store, pure is about 4 times the cost of the extract, of the artificial, but they do not work the same, and they're not the same kind of formulation. They just smell the same.
So that's not like what you use to make cookies, is it?
Yeah, this is what you use to make cookies.
Oh,
Yep, it's the same thing you make cookies with. And so, like that short scrub, the sugar scrub that I sent around, that's cinnamon, the same cinnamon you use in cooking, brown sugar, and a little bit of almond oil. And the only thing different in there is cardamom. It's another spice, and that spice is a little more expensive. But I just happen to like that, and it was in the recipe, and I left it. So I like the scent. But you can use lots of things in your house. Yeah, Sam.
As far as the insecticide or the spray for the mosquitoes, you said it had alcohol, correct?
You can use rubbing alcohol, and what the rubbing alcohol is a carrier. It's like a carrier that evaporates really quickly. So that takes that vanilla. What you're trying to get on your skin is vanilla. But if you try to put this vanilla straight on your skin, you're going to use up your bottle of vanilla real fast. So what the witch hazel, which was a traditional skin toner, or the rubbing alcohol, which is used on skin, what those are, they're a carrier for the vanilla to stretch it out and to help you have something that'll cause it to evaporate really quickly when it hits your skin and leave the vanilla. And it is the vanilla component in there that really is what keeps the insects away.
Now, isn't alcohol harmful for the skin?
The rubbing alcohol, no.
Oh, okay.
Actually, yeah, rubbing alcohol is used very frequently in medical applications on the skin. I like witch hazel better.
I like witch hazel better,
but they're
too,
both
but-
astringent, which means they cause contraction. But they both evaporate really, really fast. So either one is perfectly fine for the skin because it just gets, you're right, it just gets the oil on there and then that evaporates.
all the scrubs you made, are those suitable for all types of skin?
Yes, they're suitable for any type of skin.
Okay. I have another question from you. How long does this last? The copper plate? I mean,
This actually doesn't last for a very long time. So you probably, when you make it, you should sort of estimate how much you think you're going to need for that one-time use
Right.
and make it, because of what's in it. It'll only last for a couple of days before it starts to go bad. So most of them will last for as long as you want to keep the cleaning products. But this one, you should use it up or just throw out what's left.
all right.
And in terms of the same thing, if you're making a big batch of the scrubs, more than what you're going to use in a couple of days, I had vitamin E, and that's the natural preservative. You can get vitamin E capsules and break one open. You can add a half teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, depending on how much you made of just the liquid vitamin E. So that's a natural preservative that will extend the life.
Yep, and that's what they use in Dr.
In Dr.
Bronner's
Bronner's.
as a preservative, because it's all this is oil that's been saponified to make it into soap, but you need something to keep the oil from spoiling, and the vitamin E keeps the oil from spoiling.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dawn and Tommy. This was extremely informative, very, very helpful. I think something to underscore here is the fact that all of these products that we were talking about can replace things that otherwise are dangerous in our homes. Most of these products, I would bet, don't say caution, keep out of reach of pets or children, or warning, if swallowed, get immediate help, or any of those things. So I think that's a really important thing to remember with these products, and then consider what we're buying at home. I tweeted during this to say most of these ingredients for my face and cleaning products are edible. Can I say the same about my, what did I say, my facial toner and silver polish, which I'm sure are not, right?
And
So
I have this I can give away if we
that's
can.
right. I am thinking of a number between 1 and 50. If you would like to try to guess what that number is.
13.
Nope. 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 Nope.
24.
Nope.
17.
Nope. Nope. 2 more. Okay. Nope. Should I go with the closest?
Yes.
Okay, right here. I was thinking of April 22nd, which is Earth Day, so I was thinking of the number
Ta-da.
22.
Yeah. It's a
Very
nice little cleaning
good.
product
Do the
for
same
you.
thing with the insect
You're
repellent or
welcome.
the coffee script if you want.
Oh, you know, one quick thing, by the way, is with these spray bottles, I bought these, but most of us have things like Windex or whatever at home. My suggestion is always go ahead and finish using it. Do whatever until it's done, and then clean the bottle out super well, and then use that to make your natural cleaning products. That way you don't have to go out and buy a new bottle, because you probably already got some in your cabinet. And it's dangerous to the environment to dump it into the sink.
Yes.
So go ahead and use it and finish it up, but then keep the container, because that saves you money. Because I mean, these weren't super cheap. You know, it was a couple of bucks per. It's easier to go ahead and use something that you've already bought.
But do make sure you clean it out very carefully,
yes.
very, very well. And if you do have stuff that you want to get rid of and don't know what to do with, this is my nice segue into a plug for May 3rd. All day, it's a Saturday from 8:30 to 3:30. We're doing a hazardous waste collection event. So it's here on campus. You can bring old paint, old cleaners, old things that you don't want anymore, old electronics, and textiles as well
Do you want the
that
rest
you
of this,
can get rid of
brass topics on
safely
No, 'cause I'm
and
just making it when I use it.
responsibly. So that's May 3rd.